Happy Wednesday, and welcome to all those who are just joining us. So grateful to be here with you. Grateful for the privilege that it is to be alive and to have health. So grateful. I know a lot of people who are struggling with really big things. My daughter has a dear friend whose dad just passed away, and Eliza went to his funeral on Saturday. So every day is a gift. Such a good reminder. Squeeze on your loved ones. Give them, make sure they know how much you love them. All right. Well, Natalie is telling me that this week, doTERRA is doing trainings on the new comp plan, and they're going all week. So she says there's a link in the team app that I'm looking for. If anybody has that link, if you would post it, that would be fantastic. I'm not seeing it. I wonder if it's in the BD group. Okay, yeah, I'm not seeing it. So anyways, sorry to make an announcement without a link. I would assume it's in their social media channels, but I think they're doing it by rank. They're starting at the top and going down. So, and just so you know, the comp plan takes a few times to really wrap your brain around. It took me several. So if some of you are scratching your heads like, I just don't get it yet, you're in good company. It took me, gosh, I mean, I was fortunate to be at a lot of the meetings where we were throwing around different models, but it does take a minute. So it's not you. It's, we all get so used to the way things are. And so definitely takes a hot second to adjust. Let's see. I'd love to know what books you're reading, what practices you're using to grow yourself. What are you doing to invest in you lately? Go ahead and put that in the chat. I'd love to hear ideas. I know doTERRA just launched some challenges. I saw that. The Empowered Success Monthly Challenge. So let's see if there's a link to that. So they're doing, oh, there was a Zoom on the 17th. Veronica says, I want to read the Multiplier book you recommended. It is by Greg McKeown. He is just a gem. He also wrote the book Essentialism. So thank you for that reminder, Veronica. I'll see if I can grab the link to it. And I could be mispronouncing his name. I don't totally know how he pronounces it. But there's the link right there. And then Cindy says, just finished Dr. Cloud's Never Go Back. Excellent. And Joan says, does anyone know if the Monday session was recorded for us to watch? Couldn't make that Zoom. Great question. I don't know that for sure. Okay, and then Merle is posting Megan Riordan Jarvis. Can anyone tell me essential questions about loss? Oh, sorry. I think she was guessing on the author of Multipliers. By the way, if anybody wants to watch, thank you, Jess. Jess is posting the link to the recording. Thank you so much for that. If anybody wants to watch the talk that Natalie and I gave at leadership last year in Nashville, we posted that at sharesuccess.com/leadership. So go check that out. And there's also some links to Lindsay's talk from this year, Lindsay Norman's talk from this year, and then also Matt Hall and also Lindsay from convention this past year. So great resources there. Also the PowerPoint that Lindsay uses when she teaches a class. So lots of good stuff there. All right. Awesome. Well, let's jump into some coaching. Go ahead and raise your hand, and we'll bring you on live so we can talk through whatever it is you want to discuss. Could be goals, could be blocks, could be limiting beliefs, whatever is coming up for you. I'm here to serve you. All right, just watching the questions. Oh, by the way, doTERRA, let me show you something. This is really cool. doTERRA, they were out of print in the business building guide for quite a while, but they are back in and they're now soft bound instead of spiral bound. So I think that makes it a lot more affordable for us and for doTERRA. So super grateful that they are keeping that fresh. They also added the strategic planner at the end, like we asked for, the launch strategy blueprint. So the last 4 pages from 109 to 112 are here's your strategy to launch all the way to platinum. And you can do it at your own pace, but you build to elite, then you help 3 build to elite, and then help those 3 get to silver. So super duplicatable. Hang on a sec. Okay. So it's either Merle or Cindy says, I'm using the book. Can anyone tell me if we're helping people with oils who are experiencing grief effects? Okay. Thank you for that tip. That's fantastic. All right, well, go ahead and raise your hand if you have any questions or topics or blocks that you want to discuss. Little reminder, next Wednesday, Lindsay Norman is going to go into more depth on the topic that she covered at leadership, at leadership. So be sure to catch next week's call. Same time, same link, same everything, just that'll be the focus next week. Also, it's kind of last minute, but we do have Experience doTERRA this weekend. So that runs Friday and Saturday. Okay. All right. In the comments, Sarah says, I'm very deflated about my PGV. Any tips on getting over that hump? Great comment, and curious, does anybody else feel the same way? Was anybody a little bit let down when they looked up their new PGV metric? So here's what I would tell you. Everything in life is just feedback, and it's all neutral. And it's totally up to you how you choose to look at it, to receive it, whether you take it in or not, and what you decide to make it mean. So PGV it's just a growth metric, right? It's just a simple way to measure how much new growth is happening within your 7 levels. Sorry, PGV is personal. So that's how much personally your people that you've enrolled in the last 12 months are doing on LRP. So PGV is a metric that Natalie and I we looked at our new metric and it's abysmal. We are not big enrollers. Our core strength is attracting leaders and launching new builders. And so personal growth volume, the only time that matters is when you're going for the boost, the Power of 3 boost levels. And so Natalie and I, we looked that number up for ourselves. We looked at each other and we're like, nope, we are not changing our strategies. We know we do well. Massive enrolling is not that. And we also know that the return on investment for that activity would be low for us at our stage. Now, this is not the case for everyone. I just want to be super clear. That's where we are in our business. But we didn't, yeah, we chose not to focus on that metric. So personal growth volume, yes, that's what PGV stands for. So here's what I would say to you. Take a look at where you are, how much volume you have, what rank you are, and then make a choice about where you're going to put your focus and plan it out, because maybe Power of 3 is a good focus for the next, I don't know, 1 to 2 years. And then with the Power of 3 structure, you're moving towards rank. But be sure to keep the main thing, right? To stay, to keep first things first, because it's really tempting with these comp plan shifts to get distracted and to keep take your eye off the goal. So the goal is to build residual income, right? The goal is to build a pipeline. And Power of 3 is a powerful stepping stone to get there, but it's not the boost, anyways, is not a highly residual component. So just keep that in mind. Here's the analogy that I came up with. Let's say that your unilevel and your well, maybe I've got a chart to demonstrate this. Well, that's going to take me a while. So let's pretend like the ranks, like you're on the shore, okay? You're in a beautiful tropical place and you're on the shore, but there's a cruise ship out a mile or two from the shore, and you have a ticket to be on that cruise ship, but you got to get out there. Your body has to be on the cruise ship to use that ticket. So there are a couple of different ways to get there. You could swim, if you're a really, really strong swimmer. You could hop on a paddle board, or you could hop in a canoe. And I like to say that in the past, if the way that you get to the cruise ship is the Power of 3, I like to say that the old Power of 3 was kind of like swimming. Maybe you're on a surfboard, but you're still paddling, and it's just not a very efficient way to grow into your business. But the new way, the new Power of 3 is more like a canoe. They're designed to move really efficiently and to get you from one place to another. So the new Power of 3 with the boost gets you to $500 a month so much faster, and it gets you to the $1,750, which is very meaningful income. and it removes a lot of the roadblocks. In the past, if you focus on Power 3, it could be really frustrating. You could get really hung up on certain people doing certain things. And that got frustrating for a lot of us. So the new Power 3, it's fantastic. And if I was on a call with some blues and presidentials, they were the only ranks on the call, and they were getting so hung up on the new Power 3. They're like, oh, I just totally lost my chance to boost. And I'm like, yeah, but you're a blue and presidential diamond. Like, let's keep the main thing the main thing. Like, you're already on the cruise ship. Don't worry about hopping back for this small little, in proportion to a blue and pres paycheck. Anyways, the point is, it's a tool, and it's appropriate at for a lot of the growth process. But the main thing, the real prize at the end of your doTERRA journey, besides who you become and the people you meet, but the business goal is residual income, and that comes through Unilevel and through the pools. So even platinum now is a very meaningful pool. So great comment, Sarah. I was a little disappointed by my PGV for a minute, and then I remembered, oh yeah, that's not what I'm here for. Didn't come for, I hold buckets other places. I don't need to hold more buckets here. So, but you, again, it's your choice. You can choose to make that a stepping stone to where you're going. And thanks to doTERRA, it's a powerful stepping stone now. So, great question. What else? Go ahead and raise your hand if you want to come on live, or post your questions in the chat. Becky says it's great that doTERRA has multiple different ways to get paid to support everyone in every different rank. Amen to that, sister. We are so blessed that doTERRA has such a dynamic methodology for compensating us. A lot of companies build a really, really simple comp plan, and they don't last. The companies don't last. The fact is, it does take a certain level of complexity to reward all the right behaviors and at all the different phases. So stages matter. So this weekend, Jeff, he's asking, I was taking notes. This weekend is Experience doTERRA. So great opportunity to bring your prospects, even your, any builders who may have lost steam, or sharers who are thinking about building. So any kind of potential builder, Experience doTERRA is for them. Okay, so Paula asked a great question. In that page that I just showed, in the launch strategy blueprint, the first goal is to pay for your product, and that's by hitting elite. That's even, you're going to do a lot more than pay for your product with the new comp plan changes. The next goal is to supplement your income at silver, and then you can replace, most people can replace an average income at platinum, especially with the new upgrades. So her question is, why are we showing platinum? Why not show diamond? The reason we did that was for simplicity, because if we think of ourselves as elite factories, then we hit elite. We show we help 3 people build to elite, and then we help those 3 people build 3 elites, and boom, you're platinum. So it's really just, we found that simplicity duplicates better than complexity. And so that's a model that is easy to wrap your brain around and just focus on. And when Natalie and I are coaching and mentoring, if people have a truly solid fourth builder as they're building, we definitely suggest that they start that fourth leg. It's really a timing thing though. The chances of a brand new person who's never built in network marketing having 4 solid leaders to work with are pretty small. So that's why I think it's much more realistic to focus on the other cool thing about Platinum is if they're focused on that structure, that'll make it a lot more possible for them to get their power of 3. And so it really does become a solid stepping stone. And it's a lot more viable for them to either step away or step back from other employment to focus more on doTERRA. So great question, Paula. I don't know if anybody saw the new leadership magazine. Super fun to recognize all these rock stars. One of them is our very own Sherry Hamlin, who she's been on this call before. Great job. Okay, what are the questions? Raise your hand if you want to come on live or just put them in the chat. You're probably wondering, what is it you're drinking, Andy? Well, I'm glad you asked. It's my morning cacao drink. And James Bybee shared the recipe with us. I should say the practice, because it's kind of turned into this ritual that I love. And I put the recipe and the instructions at sharesuccess.com/brew, BREW. So it's our cacao brew. It's fun to put different oils in it. Most days I do peppermint, but some days I do a mix of turmeric, cinnamon, cardamom, and ginger. Even probably 2 drops of each. I'm doing a batch for 2 of us. So, yumminess. All right, Sarah says, I'm currently silver. I know everyone has different goals and end game, but how do I stay focused and not get distracted by all the shiny things that keep getting offered? Ooh, I love this one. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you for being real with us. How do we stay focused? And here's the challenge. Most of us got into direct sales or network marketing because we don't fit the mold, right? We don't do well with routines and cubicles and 9-to-5 jobs and bosses and hierarchies. And so that's why we're here. We love the freedom. We love the dynamic nature. We love the flexibility. So how do we get focused enough to get results, right? I think that's what you're asking. So how do I keep all the good that comes with the freedom, the flexibility, to be my own boss without any of the downside, which is when I'm my own boss, I'm really lenient with myself and I go really easy and I spend too much time making brew in the morning or whatever the thing might be, right? So here's what I found. We've really simplified the core business activities, and they're called pipes, right? So P is for prepare, I is for invite, P is for present, E is for enroll, and S is for support. And this is how you build your financial pipeline. But these 3 in the middle, those are your money-making activities, all right? That's where the return on investment comes. And so as you look at your week, and there's a section in here called Schedule Your Success. As you look at your week and and all of your activities, that's on page 19, schedule your success. As you do that, be sure to prioritize your IPE. And so that's what we recommend here on this page. There's a sample calendar, and we're demonstrating what it looks like to make sure that you make the main thing the main thing. So there's also a great little graphic down here that shows what percentage of your time should be spent. And you'll see that 70% of your time should be spent on the IPE activities, because that's what's going to move the needle. You can organize your oils all day long. It's not going to move the needle. You can read personal development books all day long. And unless you take action on what you're learning, then it'll just sit on the shelf of your brain, the shelf of your heart. So the key is to be in action, doing the productive things. You've heard Tiffany and I speak ad nauseum about the importance of falling in love with the process. So, as you share, as you invite, present, enroll, it's good to have a goal. We're never going to tell you to forget about your goals, but one goal could be to fall in love with the process. And this is actually a great response to Ashley's question, which is, how do you get a fire burning so deep that you become unstoppable? So again, I would say falling in love with that process of healing the world, of lifting others, of empowering, of opening the doors of freedom for others. If you fall in love with that process, then you'll never work a day in your life, right? People say it's more important to fall in love with your work than to find a job that you love. So that's what I love about doTERRA, is there's so much to love. So that's my cursory answer, but Sarah, I'd love to have you come on live if you're willing. So if you want to come on live, we'd love to continue that conversation. So it's always better as a conversation, right? I'm seeing in the chat, we don't fit the mold. Yes. That's why we love what we do. We
Hello,
love our...
good morning.
Hi, Sarah. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Great, thanks.
Thanks, Haley. That's all I'm gonna say. She's such a turd. I was trying to be incognito today. It just didn't work.
Doesn't always work, does it?
Okay, I don't know what more we could dive into. Thank you for all of the things. That my first question, you did wonderful. And I have a fantastic upline, Haley Bamsberger. She's absolutely amazing.
She's the
But
best.
I am just at a spot, and I have I don't run out of steam. I just typically don't. That's just not who I am. But the last couple of weeks, I don't know, being tired, obviously emotionally, that's going to run you down too. But the biggest thing, I'm a Silver Club mentor, first time, whoop, whoop, because I got denied to do Silver Club. Turns out if you graduate Diamond Club, you can't do Silver Club. And so I am a mentor, and I absolutely love it. But it is a lot. It is a lot because you feel like you're only making $1,100. So how are you supposed to help others say, yes, there's so much more to this? And then you look at your personal growth volume and you're like, you are not doing well. How are you supposed to be a mentor to these people? And so I think that was one of my biggest things. And my other thing was all the shiny things. I don't know if logos will still exist after this new restructure, but I find myself, I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to do this. Oh my God. And I cannot And I'm one to stay on task. I plan out my month. I have weekly coachings with Haley, which is spot on. Everything is just very strategic. I'm very, very good at that. That's why I don't fit the mold. This is exactly where I'm supposed to be, right place at the right time. But I seem to get distracted by those shiny things when they get offered. I'm like, okay, now I got to focus on PGV. Well, now I'm a
Yeah.
Silver Club mentor. And I'm like, oh man, I'm having a
Yeah.
difficult time.
I hear you. Thank you for the real talk and for sharing more of your journey. And congratulations on being a Silver Club mentor. That's fantastic. So cool. I love how doTERRA just organically creates this receiving mentorship and then giving mentorship. It's built into the model, like, and it doesn't matter where the mentorship comes from. There's so many mentors. Elise Genevieve has her free mentor calls. I have this call. Like there's a billion ways to get mentored, and there's no right or wrong way. So, anyways, I just want to call that out that you're kudos to you for receiving the mentorship from Haley, from this call, from wherever you get it. I think that's one of the main things, because you can't pour from an empty pitcher, right? And so I'm so grateful that you're filling yours up. Shiny objects. Shiny objects are a funny thing. We mostly discredit them because they can be such a distraction. And we are energetic creatures and we get to manage our energy. And so there will always be new and shiny objects. I know the Kirschbaums are launching their Empowered Social platform, and I've got a bunch of my team that are really excited. And I probably have an equal size team that's like, oh my gosh, not another thing. Like that's all I need is one more thing that I have to learn, I have to figure out. So, there's so many different personality types. There are learners who would be happy just endlessly studying the chemistry of the oils, or studying the science, or learning about new tools. If that's you, fantastic. Feed that flame, right? Fuel that fire. If that's not you, then manage your energy and don't go there. So if you were to ask me 5 years ago, I would say don't chase shiny objects, period, because there'll always be some new thing. But the fact is, that's part of our brilliance as network marketers. Is many of us, I shouldn't say most of us, but many of us are innovators or early adopters. If you've studied the curve of adoption, product adoption, Clayton Christensen, it's brilliant. If you haven't, go look it up. But many of us, because we're innovators and early adopters, we're really great with new things. In fact, it's part of what fuels us, finding the next big thing. So to some extent, you just have to accept that and be okay knowing the landscape's always going to change. AI has completely changed our world. I think we haven't even seen a fraction of what it's going to do to our world. Robotics, self-driving cars, flying cars. Like we live in a day and age where there's almost no limit to what's possible. And so you might be the personality that gets completely floored by that, or you might be the personality that's like, I can't wait to find the next new thing. So just be mindful of what your type is, and more importantly, manage your energy. You could literally fill 40 to 80 hours a week on chasing the next shiny object. and not move the needle, not engage in the key building activities of your doTERRA business. So it sounds like you're already doing a great job of time blocking, of scheduling, of honoring what you schedule. So it doesn't sound like that's the issue. I would just say, kind of drop in and check in with yourself on, do I love to learn about new stuff? Do I love the discovery process, or does it just exhaust me? It sounds to me like you've got you're a little bit repelled by the shiny object syndrome. And so I would honor that. I would say stick with what works, stick with your zone of genius, which it sounds like you're really good at consistency. I have consistency at like number 33 in my strengths. I really, really struggle. I love the learner and discovery and input. And so I think, yeah, I think we just get to honor the part of us that that loves variety, loves to learn. I used to get frustrated when big influencers would come to doTERRA, build a huge team, and then go on to another company or just kind of, chase the next affiliate thing. I used to think, you know what? What a waste, what a shame. They really could have built something great here. And then I kind of realized, you know what? That's always going to happen because that's part of who we are. That's part of being an early majority, an innovator and early adopter. The magic that I found happens when you have enough self-discipline to really go deep with one thing. So doTERRA being the vehicle for us has really paid off in spades. Like I'm so grateful that Natalie had the vision and that she's had the stick-to-itiveness to just drop the roots and go far and wide here. So the shiny objects for us have been, which app are we going to use? Are we going to use Enroll Pro? Or are we going to use Empowered Social? That's a pretty narrow field. What book are we going to use to duplicate with? Modern Essentials, Essential Life, like really a pretty narrow range of shiny objects. And I wouldn't call the reference guide a shiny object, but you know what I mean? There's been a dozen of those even, the Oil Magic, what are some of the others? Droply. Anyways, there's always going to be more and something that looks sexy. So just be really clear on who you are. So do you know what your top 5 strengths are by any chance?
I knew you were going to ask. I cannot remember for the life
No
of
worries.
me. I know
No
achiever.
problem.
Achiever
Okay.
is high. So you give me a challenge, and Haley has learned that I'm going to go for it. I'm very, very competitive.
Love it.
So I know that's up there. So I think now that I'm listening to you, I think something that has really just I guess is finding, so I'll have one of my gals ask me a question and it's one of those shiny objects. And I don't know because I am trying to stay focused and stay in my lane.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's maybe what it is that I am like, okay, why can't you be like me? And we're going to stay focused and you're going to do this. And that's not their style. So
yeah, there's a power that comes in the honoring of people's uniqueness, right? And really holding space, not trying to turn them into mini me's, right? Like little robots of ourselves, but giving them space is such a powerful leadership principle. And I love how the strengths movement has helped us do that. So we can be our own brilliance and not have to copy, not have to be anyone else. Great awareness. So can I just speak to one more thing that you brought up? Yeah. It feels, the feeling that I got from you is overwhelm, especially in this realm of mentoring others, right? Like you were saying, I don't have, I'm making 1,200 or so, who am I to mentor? I don't have my PGV, who am I to mentor? So I just want to tell you a quick little story on that. So when Natalie first got her oils, she didn't want to do the business, but she's in yoga, and God basically starts telling her who she needs to share the oils with. And, her response was, if I shared those oils, I'd be doing network marketing, and I don't do network marketing. And the response she got back from God was, well, I wanted this for you, but I can give it to someone else. So with that directive, she started sharing. And Laura Jacobs was one of the people that Natalie felt impressed very strongly to share with. So put yourself in Natalie's shoes, okay? Never done direct sales, ever. Never had any success in building a team of, of really creating a movement of any type. Whereas Laura has 15 years experience in network marketing. She has massive experience. She's been on all the trips with other companies, and she has her own herb shop. She has thousands of clients. Well, maybe it's hundreds, but it seemed like thousands to us. And in our mind, she's like this demigod, right? So how do you think it felt for Natalie to approach Laura about joining another one, because she was already in multiple companies, and two, to dedicate time and energy to build a team, to build a rank in doTERRA? Super intimidating, right? But to Natalie's credit, she had her directives, and she felt like they were from a higher power, so she acted on them. So when she approached Laura, she was super timid. She was worried, but to Laura's credit, she listened. Natalie had attended multiple trainings by Laura, paid trainings, and the little voice came to Laura and said, Natalie has been a willing learner from you and has listened to you. It's your turn to listen to her. And so, to her credit, she's been an incredible leader, an amazing business partner, and so teachable. We like to project onto people that they know more, they have it all figured out. But Laura has been amazing at being willing to be wrong and to be teachable. So I just want to tell that story because it's easy for us to go into the comparison game. And because there are people who earn more than I do, then I shouldn't be a mentor. Because there are people who have, they're great enrollers, or they have a high PGV, then I shouldn't be a mentor. The fact is, passion is what qualifies you to be a mentor. That's it. That's literally the only thing. And if you have passion, then that's all you need. You're called. And so you can do the job. I hope many of you can relate to this. It's so easy to go into that game, right? Especially when doTERRA sends out a leadership magazine that feels like they've sorted us all into who are the high performers and who are the low performers. And maybe I'm not even in this book, so who am I?
Yep.
That's the downside to recognition. When we choose to give gold stars, we can start to interpret the gold stars and say, oh, well, they have more gold stars than I do, or they have a different gold star than I do. But the fact is, all of us have infinite worth. You have infinite worth. And nothing you could ever do will add to or take away from your worth. So coming from that space can open up limitless possibilities. When you choose to lean in and say, I have something to give. I have my passion. If nothing else, I have my passion. Even if you don't have knowledge, even if you just have passion, I have that. And that is enough. I don't know if you heard Lindsay Norman's speech at leadership, but she stood up there and said, I know that doTERRA has 7 owners, but I only know 2 of their names, Emily Wright and Dr. Hill. And then she's like, I think that the president of the company is Bill Murray. So and then she went on and talked about linalols. She doesn't have any idea what linalols are, but she's heard it a dozen times. That's the point, right? She mentors her team brilliantly, not because she knows so much, but because she has passion, she feels called to it, and she answers that call. And so passion is what qualifies you. And it sounds to me like you've got that in spades.
I do. Thank you. Yes, that was spot on. Way to just really grab that. Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm super excited
I
to see what you
do.
create.
I do. I do have the passion. It's just keeping going. So thank you so much for letting me go on live. Thanks, Haley.
Yeah, kudos to you. I know it takes courage to come on and to be vulnerable. So thank you, Sarah. It's a gift to have you share. And I can tell from the comments that lots of people here could really relate. So thank
Oh,
you so
good. I'm more than happy to come on every Wednesday then if you need me.
always welcome. Come on
Thank
every
you so
week.
much.
Great
Thank
conversation.
you. Thanks for the calls.
Sure thing. Oh, how many of you can relate to Sarah in some degree of, not feeling enough? Who am I to mentor? Who am I to be great? Obviously, the um, Marianne Williamson quote comes to mind. Who am I to have, to be brilliant, to be great? Actually, who are you not to be? If you haven't read that quote, go check it out. I think it was actually quoted in Nelson Mandela's one of his speeches. So our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine, as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give our other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. That's from her book, A Return to Love. So those are words to live by. And I could share example after example. One of my favorites is the story of Moses from the best-selling book of all time, the Bible. And whether you think it's, fiction or history is really irrelevant. The power of the story, when Moses is asked to liberate, right, that word that Marianne uses, he's asked to liberate his whole people, right? It could be, I don't know if it was hundreds of thousands or millions of Israelites. He's called to liberate them. And he asked the same question. He's like, who am I? In fact, he gives God specific reasons why he's not qualified. He talks about how his tongue is slow of speech. We think that he probably had a speech impediment, maybe he stuttered. And so he asked the question of God, who am I? Who am I to do this hard thing? I'm just a man. And Pharaoh knew him well because they grew up together. And what did God say? Moses, I made your mouth. I made you. Do you think I can't do this work? And this, if I were to rephrase that, I would say it's not you who's setting the people free. Get out of the way of making yourself the hero of the story. He's the hero. And the only way we can mess up is if we try to intercept his role, to confuse his power and his glory. We are meant to shine his light. We are meant to be a window to his light and love. So, so grateful for Moses and his example of not getting in the way. When we're called to do big things, it's intimidating. It's scary. But who are we to pull the shade on God's window, to block his light? When we shine our brightest is when we are a clear window to his light. So great line of questioning. Thank you so much, Sarah, for coming on, and thank you, Haley, for the gentle nudge. Yes, I am passionate about this topic. I give the same response when people ask, how do I avoid being salesy? How do I avoid being pushy? That's the last thing I want to do in this business. Stop making it about you. The only people who let that stop them are the ones who are just thinking about themselves, and that is selfish. So being selfish will detract you from your main goal, which is to serve. So if you're in this business to serve, to lift, to heal, then don't make it about you. So awesome. Thank you so much for that question. I'm so grateful for the passion that all of you feel. I don't think you'd be here if you didn't have at least a spark of passion. And I'm so grateful that we have a vehicle where we can share our passion. I can't think of a single cubicle that any of us could work in that would satiate the fire that burns within each of us. So thank you so much for coming on and shining today, and go out, whether the clouds are there or not, go out there and shine anyways. Thanks so much, and be sure to join us next week with Lindsay Norman. Take care.